Today I am interviewing really two awesome people. Let me tell you the backstory behind this. My friend Andy, who's a sweetheart, and I was guest spotting on his podcast, recommended a movie, a horror short for me. And I watched the movie, and turns out it's such a spectacular movie. I'm going to put the link in the YouTube for you all to watch. Turns out it's directed by the awesome Chris Turner, who is actually a really cool dude to hang out with, and also starring Celeste Wong. I'm saying your name correctly, Celeste, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I said, okay, I gotta interview these people. I gotta know the behind the scenes, how this thing turned out. So hello, guys, and welcome on my YouTube channel and my interviews. I want to start by asking Chris, where did this insane idea come from?
Oh God. Okay. It's like most of these things, I think me and Celeste have worked together in the past, and they tend to just come, they kind of be disparate ideas that eventually start to join up. And so it's probably been the idea has probably been around for quite a while, and it's probably been in a music video treatment that didn't get made or whatever. But it kind of in November of what was it? So year before last, 21. It just started to kind of all match up, and but the basic idea was we wanted to make a claustrophobic short horror film, so it needed to be in one location, and the idea kind of grew from that. And I kind of thought I hadn't seen much in the way of horror that was kind of in an office environment or a job interview, and job interviews scare me. So we kind of started thinking about that. And then I started to do research online, and it seemed to be, I found a whole website full of kind of literal horror stories from horrible experiences people had in job interviews. And that seemed like a really nice, well, not nice, a horrible way to develop it into a script. So yeah, I mean, and then actually reading those, most of the bad experiences were from women, and a lot of the same themes came up again and again and again and again in experiences in job interviews. So yeah, it kind of started to write itself a little bit after that.
This is why I was going to ask you, why did you choose the protagonist to be a female? Why did you choose her specifically to be about a woman?
Yeah, mainly because of that. I mean, I know, again, me and Celeste have worked together for a long time, so these things don't generally happen like, we write a script completely on its own and then go out and look for who to do it. There's a lot of the crew and the other writers and the other actors that I know that were kind of interested in doing something, and Celeste's always dependably interested in doing stuff. So it started to come together because of everybody that was kind of, in my orbit in a way. But like I say, when I was doing the research for actually writing the script with Mark, who's the co-writer, most of the stories were there were stories by guys that had terrible interview experiences, but they weren't in the same kind of zone as women's interviews, So it kind of just went that way. Plus, I guess there's a kind of final girl element that's cool about horror anyway, which we all know about. So yeah, it just seemed the way to go, really.
And really it touched on the workplace, what I'd like to say, call workplace phobia, because there is a phobia that should be added to workplace phobia or interview phobia, things that kind of like engulf you as a person, that you become unable even to repeat the experiences, even if someone just comes up with another job and tells you, come on, go, you don't want to relive this experience again. And this is why I'm asking Celeste, what drew you to the role and how did you get into this character?
I think well, I mean, Chris has already touched on the fact that we've worked together a number of times and worked on things that haven't actually, some things go ahead, some things don't. And I always find his I don't know if it's called empathy, but like the way that you represent or see or write like a woman's perspective. I guess it's a woman's perspective, which is really interesting. And they're always really interesting roles. So it's also like you said, it's quite a relevant thing. It's happened to a lot of people. I've experienced, some of that to a degree, some of the things that happened in the film to a degree. So we all, like, I know what that feels like. So to sort of get there wasn't hard. And especially when you're on set and things creepy and it's amazing, and the other actors are that you're playing with are sort of dressed always like it's thinking about it yesterday. It's always so much easier, and just to sort of get into that, into the feeling of you know especially like what's happening, what's written literally in the script.
Definitely
Can
wonderful.
you hear
Did you
me?
get all that, Jay? Because
Okay.
Celeste locked up on me quite a lot then. Did you get all
I
that?
heard, yeah, I got most of what Celeste said, but seriously, it was awesome.
It might
I
be the
really,
New Zealand. It might be the New Zealand internet at the moment. I'm here. I'm visiting family. I'm in New
guys,
Zealand, and so everything's all a bit weird.
don't you feel like this? Because this will happen with me a lot, and it's happened to me a lot of times, even with my podcast friends. So, baby, I get you. I get everything. I get the experience. It happens here a lot in Egypt too. So, yeah, this is why I was handling it. Like, yeah,
Wow.
Celeste, I get it.
Really?
I'm filling in the blanks. No
I could hear
problem.
most of it. You just froze for a little while. That's all.
Oh, really? I hope I didn't freeze like.
And it was like, no, but you looked good. And like for me, I'm always when it's laughing and I'm like, ow. And then I see it and I'm like, oh, okay. Skip. Fine. Yeah, you look good.
So,
It was
Okay.
a
yeah,
good
I
freeze
mean,
frame.
just to recap, I mean, I'm getting into the feeling, I guess, of the character. I sort of, I have experienced a bit of that, and also, I know my friends' experiences, and you hear a lot about it. And Chris and I have worked together a lot, so his scripts are really good, and his character depiction is always really spot on. So in that sense, it's really sort of, it's quite flowy, really. And also, like, to your point before, I didn't actually realize until the film showed on Alta, with all the comments and stuff, that corporate horrors might be a new genre or something, because everybody seemed to sort of, well, so many people, not everybody, but so many people seem to like really connect with like a work horror type film, which I thought was really interesting, because yeah, we all, no matter what we do, there are always times when we don't want to go to work, or there's that person, or there's an awkwardness with a boss, or you don't know how to ask a question, or a manager or something. And whether or not it's sort of sexually fueled or not, there's always something.
It's pretty universal.
It totally.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which is why I want to ask you, Chris, because you framed Celeste beautifully. Like the camera angles were awesome, the close-ups, some of the angles were just perfect, and it kind of got me inside the actor. So what I want to feel is, what I want to know is, how does a director come up with, okay, I want this shot to be like close up, I want the shot to be long. How do you pick the perfect thing for the perfect timing?
Yeah, all up front really, because obviously, camera language is like dialogue or whatever. It's just another part of the language that you use in filmmaking. So I think all directors, have, or not just directors, the whole crew have a long period before making a film where you decide on its look, and obviously your location is part of that, but also you're not just choosing your lenses and your format and your aspect ratio for location. You're choosing it to get across the mood of the film. So we shot it in 4:3, old kind of 1:3:3 aspect ratio, because, well, for a couple of reasons. One was we were shooting it on the Alexa LF, and that was its full aspect ratio if you use the entire chip, which is the kind of geeky answer. But we wanted to shoot it 4:3 because it cuts out the peripheral vision. It boxes Celeste in. And we used very little camera movement. We only used camera movement in the two scenes where Celeste is kind of going between the sort of two worlds in the film. That's the only time the camera really moves in terms of traveling. Pretty much everything else apart from the opening shot is our lock-offs, because we wanted it to look like kind of portraits and put Celeste in a little box, basically. So it felt claustrophobic. And yeah, and there's kind of shots even when she's walking through the corridors. At first, she is framed quite low in shot, so there's a lot of space above her, but not much at the sides. And I think because horror depends on kind of cutting people's senses out at a certain point, so they can't see what's around the corner, that it kind of fed into that. That was the kind of the main reason behind the format of it. And then the lens choices were all about the same kind of thing, making it feel like a claustrophobic kind of portrait kind of feel.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I totally dig your dialogue. This is awesome. So for me, Celeste, what I want to know is when you're shooting discomfort, or when you're portraying discomfort or agony or pain, how easy is it to tap into those feelings, especially, like with crew, with the camera, with the lighting, with the camera sometimes so close to you, or sometimes you're in a weird position with respect to the gear itself, like the cameras and stuff like that. How hard is it? And how easy is it to tap into the feelings while doing so?
I mean, it depends on a lot of different things, but sometimes having a lot of crew and a lot of equipment can be a little bit intimidating. But I think because I was recently on something else and it was really interesting. We had to do a sort of a rehearsal of this is a different project, a rehearsal of a scene. And the whole room, the heads of all of the TV networks and everything were in the room watching us play the scene. And I wasn't expecting it. So it felt like a crowded room and like doing a performance kind of thing. And it was really weird. And I was like, all right, we did it. And then they all left. Like literally they were in and then they were out. And it was just, me, the other actor, and the camera crew with the dolly and stuff, and the director. And it was, just a few of the key people that needed to be in the room. And so, sometimes it can be a bit intimidating and you're kind of like, what's going on? But when you're actually in the moment, and in this one, because the camera in Leopard Heels with Chris, the camera was quite close to me in some instances with Anton, playing opposite me. And I mean, he's, I guess as an actor, I try to just focus on the other person and feel what I'm speaking and also what I'm hearing. And so it's weird, like I don't really notice the camera, even though it's like right there. You just kind of end up blurring everything out, and it's just you and the other person, especially if it's just the other person, like if it's just one person.
Wasn't a huge crew either, was it? I mean, it was pretty small.
No, I mean, we had like
fairly small crew.
I can't remember whether you asked the set designers and art department to get out of the room or not. I mean, most of them would have been behind me anyway. Yeah. Or yeah, I don't know. I kind of, sometimes it blurs out. Sometimes it can be if there's a lot of pressure on set, like it can be a little bit more daunting, and you really have to draw on your own preparation and focus and concentration. But otherwise, I mean, thinking about Leopard Heels and like I had a big camera in my face, I think just really focusing on what Anton was saying and what was happening in the scene was enough to sort of fuel me to sort of let everything else fade away, because you do feel like it's it's real. You're that person in that office in that horrible situation.
It's a pretty uncomfortable environment as well. It was cold.
Yeah.
It was very cold.
Oh my God, it was like the coldest set I've ever I'm traumatized. I'm a little bit traumatized by it.
Oh my God. This is what I was going to ask. Like, was it uncomfortable as it was to me? Because as a viewer, I kept feeling like, okay, I can't sit straight. Okay, I just want to get out of there. I want this film to end because it was so uncomfortable. How was it?
It definitely helped. It actually, like, I don't know if it was a conscious thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll send you some pictures, Jay, if you like, some behind the scenes. But obviously, we're all in like, North Face jackets, and Alina who plays the receptionist, and
Amazing.
Celeste are in, little shirts and things like that. And it was I think second week in February or something like that. Or it was very cold.
January or
And
February.
it was an
in
abandoned
England.
building, so it was freezing cold and no heating, and also kind of moldy, and
Ooh.
yeah, it was not
it was so bad, and like we had to crack open these, like I had to try and wear a thermal underneath, and every shot, like every time between the shot, like
Artie.
Artie would come over and put a big jacket over me, and we'd have hot water bottles, and I was shivering. We had to crack those like heat packs where you like shake them, and I could have them in my pockets. And
also, I was in a terrible mood. I was kind
Were
of
you? I thought that was
radiating
normal.
bad vibes.
Okay. Okay, I was just gonna
Yeah,
ask.
that really helped. Having a grumpy director, misogynist director.
I wouldn't go that far.
Getting all the energy off of it. Oh, don't worry. I was gonna ask, how was the relationship, like like the actor-director relationship? Because you guys seem so in harmony together, synchronized. So this is what I want to ask. Like, it translates into a very good movie.
Chris,
how was it back?
You tell them about how I'm your muse. Just tell them.
Celeste thinks she's my muse, but yeah, we've known each other for ages. How long have we known each other? Like well over 10,
a long time.
Well, 12 years maybe. So
since we did our first film, yeah.
Yeah, I sent Jay Good and Devil.
Oh yes.
So
and
that was
so
the first
good.
one we did, but we knew each other, I think, a couple of years before that. And then Celeste has been in some music videos that I've done, and some TV commercials as well. So I mean, we've worked together a lot, and actually it was really good for me because there was so much other stuff to worry about on that shoot. There was some technical problems. There was, like every short film, way too much to shoot in the 2 days that we shot it in, and it was a bit hairy at points. There's a lot of stuff that was scripted not exactly scripted, but shots on the shot list that we didn't get. So by the time we did the interview, I think that was the second day, wasn't it? I can't remember which way around it was.
I think so,
yeah, it was backwards basically. So I think by the time we did that, I was so stressed that at least I knew that I could just sort of rely on Celeste to do it, and that I could just worry about everything else basically.
Unleashed it, and this is why it translates into the feelings that Celeste is translating on the screen, which is just awesome.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know, I think it is it's a combination of we've known each other for such a long time, and we know how each other works, and I'm very open with like stuff. I'm either, if I'm uncomfortable or if I have a question about something, or mainly if I don't understand something, Chris is really good at explaining it, and also he puts in a lot of effort and preparation beforehand.
And then it all goes wrong. Yeah.
I mean, there's always a point.
That's filming. Yeah.
A point where he kind of like might seem to freak out, but I trust him. I think that's the thing. I think the main thing between any kind of working relationship or relationship that does work and hopefully translates onto screen is that there's a trust there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like it's 100%, no matter what. Like if I know that if something was like I was not comfortable with it, or I was like really worried about something, he would give me the time, and he would like consider something, and would always like, discuss it, or I would, until I felt comfortable or whatever. We've never really been in that. We've never been in that situation though, because I think even we've done the crazy stuff, even though I think you've seen Good and Devil. I mean, that was my first kind of any sort of partial nudity type stuff, but it was a really sort of meaningful and deep project for us. So, I trusted him, even though back then I'd only known him for a relatively short period of time compared to now. Like everything was so above board, and so I just think whenever you're doing anything, you need to trust them in terms of who they are and their character, but also like what they're actually going to do with the footage and the work that they've captured. And I always know, even stuff that I'm not in, that Chris does amazing work. Like it will always look great, and it's always really great. So
thanks.
I just kind of like blow, I let it go into the wind, and it's just like I do my thing, and then he does his thing. And but that's the same with everybody within a crew. It's like art department, wardrobe, all of that. You can't really, if you're going into something and you're really questioning it, then there's something there's a kink that's wrong, or there's a trust aspect. And I think Chris as a director is able to bring everybody together, bring, for one, the right people together, who and sets a really good tone within the group, the team, so that we all do really work towards like the same goal. So everybody's hustling, everybody's being nice to each other. There's no like, I don't think you'd tolerate someone being mean to someone else or whatever. It's it's all very well managed and led by Chris, who's the director, and that's very important.
Definitely.
Yeah, we have a pretty regular crew as well. So like all of us guys work together a lot. So, it, apart from obviously even the stress on set because of, just because of getting everything done. But on the whole, we usually have it's kind of a laugh as well.
Totally. Oh yeah. It's great. It's a great time. I mean, that's what's fun about filmmaking as well, right?
Right.
And that's a testament to you, Chris. We all want to work with you again and again and again. So
awesome. I want to ask about good plus evil, God plus devil. Like this whole, it blew my mind, honestly, because it was for me, I love artsy projects, like it felt like it was very high art, it was very artistic, it was choreographed in a way. So what I want to ask is, how did this project come together? And did it require you to do choreography or, like professional dance and stuff? Because I felt there was great physical expression.
You should go with that, Sal.
Oh, yeah.
And then I want you, Chris, too, to tell me, how did you come up with it?
I'll let Celeste go first.
Tell Celeste and then you.
I was gonna say, I'm interested to hear what you say about how we came up with it, because I know I was going through a real like emotional time.
Yeah. I can go first if you like.
Yeah.
Again, it came from, like Leopard Heels, it came from lots of different kind of bits and pieces of things we talked about, or visuals I got. Years ago, I did kind of just a Photoshop visual of something which had like a light cross and a black cross in it, and like doors, and that would just kind of sat on my computer for years or whatever. And then me and Celeste started talking about doing something. It wasn't meant to be a fashion film as such, but we talked about doing something that was a non-verbal piece to music. And again, all the people were in the right place at the right time. There was a choreographer called Lucy Pankhurst who wanted to do something, and Celeste wanted to do something, and the DOP on that one, Jason Berman, who's he's a phantom camera specialist. So phantom cameras shoot at kind of 1,000-2,000 frames a second. So we wanted to do something with that wasn't just about special effects shots, which is what they usually use for. So yeah, again, I'm the musician Scanner, Robin Rambo, he wanted to do something as well. So all the people and all the places kind of came together. And that's, so I think what I gave to Celeste was kind of pages of visual references and a very rough idea of it wasn't a storyboard, it wasn't a script, it was just a set of shots, really. And
I don't even remember that. I remember us sorry.
Well, we had a load of talks about it, and you talked a lot about what you wanted to bring to it. And the basic idea we had was there is good in evil, and there is evil in good. It's
and
not.
I think I was exploring that.
Yeah.
I think I was like literally exploring that within myself and asking those questions as well. So like, because the way I remember it was like a lot of like meeting in cafes, and just me like saying these really emotional, weird things that I'd been thinking about. And then you'd go away and you'd write a scene, and I'd be like, that really that
it did
depicts
help with that.
exactly how I'm feeling, but in a movie way, you know.
Mm.
It
In movie
was,
sense.
yeah, it was really interesting and quite cathartic for me. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, but we didn't
and
write it like a script. It was a bunch of ideas, really.
yeah,
Yeah, and
and I
visual.
just knew it. I think we talked. I think it took us 6 months of just like talking about it and like just like discussing concepts and ideas, and then it sort of morphed into like, well, how would we communicate that and what would that look like? And then okay, well, and then I was like, I think it's going to be a lot of movement and blah blah blah, and I was like, I'm not comfortable, like I would feel more comfortable if I had someone to help me with specific moves, because I'm, you know, when I danced I was really young, and so it was really great to have Lucy in, and we did a couple of workshops together, and I like played around with what felt right for that character, and you know, and the theme of that one was like yeah, good and evil and God and devil, and it was a play on all of that stuff, but it was like,
Duality
you
of
know,
nature.
really questioned, yeah, but it really questioned me myself as a woman. I'm like, what makes a strong woman? Is it the bride that, you know, appears to have everything when in reality a lot of people who are married are not necessarily happy, or brides who get married when they don't really want to? I don't know. And then is it the widow that is the stronger one, who has to, you know, be independent and do everything herself? And it's always looked sort of negatively upon. And there were all these sort of questions and things that I was navigating around, and we were, you know, in the film.
Oh my gosh, I lost you, Celeste.
The super
Celeste.
interesting question of like,
I lost Celeste for a bit. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we lost you for a bit
We
there.
lost you for a bit, babe.
Maybe
Oh my good.
it
maybe
was a really
permanently.
good bit too.
Oh my god.
I got a little bit
Oh my
You have
gosh.
to just say that last line again.
Yeah, just the last line, because it was so good. You were saying a lot
really,
of good things. I loved it.
I think it was just more like, you know, on the outside, when you think something's evil, is it really evil? Or is it just the way like society depicts it? Or, you know, like, can we dig deeper into like when we judge women and people for things, you know, like what is the actual story there? I think for me is like one of the themes of that film. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the bride and the widow character really sort of shows that.
Definitely. It was like they were opposites of each other, like kind of like mirror of each other in a weird, bizarre way for me. So yeah, totally
Good
get it.
opportunity for Celeste to
I
play
mean,
two roles in one film as well.
What,
yeah,
Chris?
that was fun. I mean, I think
because Celeste played both roles in the film,
This
so it's
made it
kind of,
even more interesting. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So it felt like it was two parts of your own self, which was wild
yeah.
for me at least to watch. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I really enjoyed talking. You guys are just awesome, and this interview is like so cool. What I want to know is before we end, do you guys have anything else you're working on? Do you have something new, or you haven't started anything yet?
Lots of maybes. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of written a pitch version of Leopard Heels as a feature length thing, but you know, it's so early days. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you've got to get the right people to see it, and that's the biggest part of the challenge. So that's, I mean, if we could find the right people to make it, then the idea is there for definite. We expanded it quite a lot, and then myself and another writer, Celeste introduced me to, actually are working on a few scripts, one of which is kind of written with Celeste in mind, but we haven't finished that one yet. So yeah, I mean, love to. I would really like to make something feature length with Celeste at some point. Sooner rather
So
than
if
later.
you guys are watching,
yeah.
if you guys are watching on Alter, like in the comments, go and write, show how much you want a feature length film
Yes,
of
please.
Leopard Heels. Like, if you guys like really plug it, because actually I've read the pitch and the whole outline of the new feature film that we would do, and it's like super cool. It's like you think, oh, maybe I read in the comments like, oh, how could you make this feature film? And I was thinking like, yeah, how could you make this it's so much more like grand and awesome. So if you guys want to see the feature film, you guys should.
A bigger idea pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
At first
Definitely.
I thought we kind of did it all in 12 minutes or something, but actually there's a lot more to explore in that world.
I totally feel it. No, seriously, this movie has a lot of potential, and there are a lot of places that you can add, a lot that you can highlight. So I'm totally in. Let's all write that we need a feature for Leopard Heels. Please, let's all give support to Chris and Celeste, because it's a great movie, great performances, great direction. I think there are revolutionary parts in it even. So yeah, I'm just so happy to talk to these two awesome artists, and I'm honored, and I hope I can get them again when we have more work to talk about. So yeah,
definitely, of course, that'd be nice. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. It's been really great to chat.
You too. Bye bye.